All right, Representative Boyd, you're still here hanging with us. I'm going to go ahead and take you. It pays to sit on the front row. We're going to look at HB 279 with my good friend, Representative Boyd. Ms. Roberts, would you read it in for the record?
HB.
It won't cooperate.
HB 279 by Representative Boyd amends Title 17, the Education Code, relative to acts of criminal hazing to provide relative to the requirements of certain students at post-secondary education institutions and to provide for related matters.
Representative Boyd, welcome this morning. Glad you're here.
Thank you so much. I'm almost feeling like a wingman here, like y'all sixth member here.
On your bill.
Thank you. So this bill is to add education for students who are in college, on a college level, with regard to hazing. Recently, we've seen a overwhelming amount of hazing with the death of Caleb Wilson. 3 weeks later, Tulane University had to suspend 2 of their fraternities. Loyola had an issue on their campus. And so I started doing a little more research. I have someone here with me who was a part of LSU's band, and I also submitted some letters to you guys, and also an email from Max Groover's mother, who
Yes.
knew that hazing was still as bad as it is right now. I went to college in the 80s. It was pretty bad then, but I thought we had moved away from it. Well, now it's not only fraternities and sororities, it's the band, it's the football teams. And so I think what I realized is that some kids don't realize what hazing is. From the lower end of someone waking you up at 2 a.m. to go get breakfast for them. Imagine if that kid is sleep deprived and falls asleep at the wheel, to beating and to also sexual assault. So I want them to be empowered to know that you don't have to be brutalized to become a brother. It should not be that way, but also to educate the students who are doing the hazing. Hazing, after the Max Groover Act, is now a felony offense with bodily harm. I realize some of them didn't know that. So this bill is simply to impose some education to you could do it online or in person, and if the organizations don't comply with the education, they will be suspended.
Are you Dakota?
Yes.
Would you introduce you? Pull that mic a little closer so we can hear you.
Hi.
And if you'll introduce yourself for the record, and let me just say welcome. We're certainly glad that you're here to testify today.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Dakota Espinosa. I'm just going to read my testimony that I have written previously. So I'm a student in LSU's College of Music and Dramatic Arts. I have one of the most severe forms of autism compatible with speech. Today, I continue my education under the same department that enabled my abuse. Last year, I submitted 350 videos of misconduct within Tiger Band. LSU disclosed my identity to every perpetrator, even those involved in criminal activity, and I feared for my life every day. I joined the LSU drumline in 2021 at 17 years old, a legal minor, and was introduced to a band fraternity still operating within staff protection. Band department staff were called honorary members. On my first day, I was taken to a 25-year-old teaching assistant's house who was hired by the band department and given alcohol. Older members gave me marijuana. We were forced to pretend march pregame while holding red Solo cups. And one thing to add is that I really never knew that I was a victim or that I was ever being hazed until 3 to 4 years after all these things happened. In registered Tiger Band class, male students shoved vapes in my face until I gave in. As an autistic minor, I was coerced into substance abuse and labeled a pledge before my freshman classes even started. On October 22nd, 2022, LSU Drumline held rookie initiation night from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m. after an 11 a.m. home game. Freshmen were deprived of water, phones, and sleep, forced to perform sexual acts against the Mike the Tiger cage with their genitals, and left to wander near Astor Street. I have photo evidence of upperclassmen calling it the scene of the crime. All during registered MUS 4250 Tiger Band class on campus, I witnessed indecent exposure, an unconscious sexual assault, and a video with the director's voice in the background of sexual misconduct. At 17, I received pornographic photos from members in their game day uniforms. I became a victim of sexual harassment as a minor because of my membership in Tiger Band. By 2023, I was removed from Tiger Band because I spoke against this. The associate band director / director of Tiger Band and director of bands received received documented reports stating a constructive suicide risk disclosure towards me as a student, and that further punitive action could endanger my well-being. But I was still humiliated publicly for encouraging anti-hazing. In 2024, the director of Tiger Band appeared on WAFB's suicide prevention broadcast, standing beside the father of a former Tiger Band student who took his own life. On camera, he stated in response to student suicide, "Now we have a point person." Yet just 2 days later, after a report to Student Advocacy and Accountability showed LSU drumline students drafting a petition to remove me from Tiger Band because I refused to haze, and after a mandated reporter held up the report to Tiger Band director and stated face-to-face, "Director, this is why people kill themselves." I was expelled from Tiger Band on my first day for using a vape handed to me by another member. The other student was sent to recovery services and allowed to stay. The director of Tiger Band then reported me to Student Advocacy and Accountability as if expulsion wasn't punitive enough. It felt like the suicide risk disclosures were being fulfilled, not prevented, and that Matthew Ballinger's Memorial Foundation clearly did not apply to students like me, those who spoke out against hazing. I'm a 21-year-old autistic student, and this is what hazing has done to me. I was once fully independent. Now I require support for basic functions, including continence care, hygiene, and daily living tasks, consequences directly tied to the trauma I endured. If that's not a sign of institutional failure and trauma-induced disability escalation, I don't know what is. If I had taken my life, it would be a wrongful death. The only difference is I chose not to, even though I was encouraged. The next student might not make this choice. Thank you.
Well, thank you for your testimony, and let me just say, on not only behalf of this committee, but I believe I can speak openly for the leadership and the entirety of the legislature. We stand opposed to any type of that kind of violence or hurt, any kind of harm that's befriended you at all. I can only issue an apology because as a servant of the people, that I think that's how we feel. We don't want any of our finest students or anyone that was of any age to have to go through anything like what you have described. So today, I also want to encourage you to say, I think you've made the right decision, and you are making the right decision. You're here living through a storm in your life, and you are helping others not only here today, but others down the road. Listen, I love fun and enjoyment, and there's every now and then some practical jokes can be acceptable. I want to say that within a certain framework, please. I don't think anything like what you said. I don't mean that at all.
Yeah, there's a
but
difference.
I support fun in life. But you have selected life. You were given that life. I know that's a little broader than your bill, but I want you to be able to go from this place today to know that there are people that stand with you, that will pray with you, that will encourage you. We're here on your side to help you as a young person to become the person that the greatness ahead of you. Don't look at yesterday and think that you're diminished. Mm-hmm. You can go forward and be anything that you've been created to be. I hope and pray your best days are ahead of you. And I want to thank you for having the courage to come to the table today.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Let me add a couple. Cynthia Posey has offered a green card in support, but is not wishing to speak. I also have a letter that is, and let me read in for another story from Skylar Williams from May 2025 that we're going to put into the record, and Catherine Irwin that's been given to put in for the record. And then we also had a letter, Representative Boyd, that you provided from Ray Ann, who's the mother of Max Groover, who was in a fraternity hazing in 2017, and this is from the mother that still is today to speak on behalf of your bill. So I'm sure that serves as a great encouragement for you.
Just so that we'll understand that educating and empowering the children now is most important. It's been since 2017 with Max, and she's still very moved by it. She's actually, her and her husband, travel not only to colleges but to high schools, so that when those seniors are entering college, they understand what happened and also notice it's okay to say no.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Senator Andrews?
First of all, I want to thank you for giving your testimony and being so brave. Most students never talk about what happened to them. And I also want to thank my Saran, my friend, Representative Boyd. It's hard when you belong to a sorority or fraternity to carry this type of legislation, but your heart for the people, not considering, how others will look at you inside of the fraternity and sororities was so very important. You have been such a wonderful advocate for our students, and thank both of you for what you're doing. Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I would ask that we report this bill favorable.
And I know that I know a lot of time's gone by, but we still celebrate life and we celebrate families. And I'm just going to ask us because I do have this particular letter from a mother that
Most definitely. Yes.
I'm going to ask us to pause for a moment of silence, and then we'll return back to close. Thank you, members. Senator Mizell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll be really quick, and I agree with everything I've heard said, and God bless you.
Thank you.
And nothing touches my heart like seeing you hold hands to get each other through this testimony. That speaks so much of your heart. But I love your bill because just like trafficking or harassment, people don't know what they're seeing.
Right.
They don't, I'd like to think the kids in these horrible stories just got swept up without really looking at their own conscience. So your bill will give them an awareness of, stop a minute, and is this the person you're going to be?
Right.
So I appreciate your bill. I appreciate you coming here today. And
Thank you.
I don't know if we've got a motion, but I would move at the appropriate time. Have we already got a motion? Do we have a motion?
We do. We're going to probably share in the motion.
Do a co-author sheet, please,
We'll do a
Mr.
co-author
Chairman.
sheet as well. We're jumped ahead a little bit. Representative Boyd, I know you have your closing.
Thank you all so much for also supporting, not me, but this baby sitting next to me. That's what this bill is really all about. Encouraging, empowering our children moving forward. It's amazing how many of them had no idea they were actually being hazed. After the Tulane fraternities were suspended, I reached out to my Tulane student who has my scholarship, and he had endured it, not knowing that he didn't have to endure it. And he wasn't on one of the fraternities that was suspended. How about that? So this is why we're running this bill, to empower them moving forward. And I ask for your favorable passage.
Well, it looks like you got a sizable favorable passage from Senator Andrews and the committee from HB 279. Any objections? Seeing no objections, it will be reported favorable, and we're doing our co-author sheet. Once again,
you so
thank you
much.
for your good work. Thanks for being here today with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you again.